general as well as a prophet, Prophet Nubu Ali. When the Moors ruled Spain, we had streetlights in Seville, Spain, 400 years before they had them anywhere else in Europe. Prophet Nubu Ali. The Moors once ruled the world, now getting ready to rule it again. But this time, it's going to be done under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Prophet Nubu Ali. Excuse my phone, I'll get that later. We Moors of the Northwest in particular have come to know and to experience the toxic nature of the Europeans' feudal law impositions, their impersonation practices, their colonial exploitation, and vampirism. We have also endured the unfortunate and yet prolific learning experience of being misgoverned under European Roman unum sanctum policies and their secret treaty of Verona subversions and colonial occupation. A prime aspect of that same misprision and maladministration of government at North America had its empowerment rooted in the coup d'etat of 1861, whereas a rogue body of congressmen for the United States, in collusion with other European interests, secretly overthrew the republic order of government as commanded by the organic Constitution for the United States of America. The outcome of their criminality resulted in the designed establishment of what has come to be known as the U.S. democracy, corrupted political platform, and multifarious anti-humane methods deemed to enforce its de facto operations thereafter imposed upon the natural people of the land. A capstone and usurping manifest of the said misprision was later sealed by the corporate and rogue Congress with their colorable and de facto legislation called Act of Congress 1871. Thereafter, a clear distinction was made between that which was originally de jure, having been supplanted with that which is de facto. Thus, the organic constitution and its republic form of government was suppressed. Thereafter, the private for-profit human trafficking and war operations rooted in the U.S. democracy political platform was promoted and proselytized. These social, political, economic misprisions and other varied experiences born of European occupation should be viewed with intelligence, with insight, and with honesty. Reflecting upon these experiences should be accompanied with actions and considerations that appeal to the higher moral, ethical, and positive attributes and customs by which we, the Moors, have been known capable of achieving for the betterment of humanity. Foreign relations and intercourse. 22, United States Code, Chapter 2, Consular Courts, subsections 141 to 143. Keep in mind, those of you who know the infiltration that took place in the Moorish Science Temple of America, with the infiltration under Calvin Coolidge and J. Edgar Hoover, and later with the operations under Eisenhower, with the relinquishing of jurisdiction at Morocco. And you understand when Charles Mosley Bey registered some of the adolescents in the Library of Congress so that the corrupt or dirty Moors couldn't tamper with it, because they were trying to tamper with Nubu Ali's literature. So CM Bey registered nationality and identification card in the Library of Congress, and also Clocks of Destiny 1 and 2 with a lot of the real history. And one of the numbers of one of the certificates held in the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. is 222141, AA, 222141. And that is a reference, but not a support. Do you understand? That's a directive. And that's what I did, lesson book 14. And that's why I separated lesson book 14 to A1, which you have some of it now. All right? And this is part of the entry that you don't have. All right? Now, and the reason what it was doing was actually leading you to this, because the obligations and the treaty enforcement at Morocco was necessary, that you yourself must enforce the Constitution. Are we clear?
Islam.
Because you're the heirs, because it's a covenant. So if the heirs won't enforce the covenant, it's called laches. That means you keep abandoning it. And this is where Ali came in to tell you to enforce the Constitution, but you must know your relationship to it. So by our people thinking that the United States is a country, they keep calling it a country. And by them thinking that European is a white man, which is a legal status, they keep calling white man, which makes him sovereign. And so they're continuously declared incompetent. And then they don't know that in 1913, as a countermeasure to Noble Drew Ali, Woodrow Wilson converted all the allodial titles into mortgages and deeds. And these people got mortgages and deeds thinking that they own property and they're really sharecropping. So when you're conscious and you go back to that state of mind of your ancient mothers and fathers, you'll see why Drew Ali sent you back, because you must convert your estate back into an allodial title. Now you understand why Drew Ali has set up a trust. And then you also understand why some of the Grand Sheiks and Sheikesses tore down the press machine and got rid of his paper, and then keep pretending that they love Drew Ali, controlling the temples, but won't tell the people about the laws of state. They mention it, but they won't go into a state law nor this history. This is what's called the Great Salah. Are we clear? So a lot of conscious Moors are suffering Negro acts that they shouldn't even be suffering, that should have been cured years ago. This is why Drew Ali said the day is going to come when people won't come into this movement with their eyes already open, and will sit them old Moors in the back and carry out his law. And they keep telling people that Drew Ali didn't teach civics. So what I did, I added some of Drew Ali's statements, which will make it very clear that he absolutely did. So currently, and in this instance, April 15th of 2017, this is in reference to our council meeting. This is an interjection. We members of the Order of the Great Seal, who are deemed among the active Moors of Northwest Amexem, are called upon to address the importance of restoring consular courts functions at Northwest Amexem, Northwest Africa, North America, the North Gate. Much of this necessity has to do with the fact that the organic constitution for equity of government at Northwest Morocco, the North Gate, has been unduly compromised by an entrenched criminal and misprision-oriented body politic. As conditionally required, we active Moors of the Order of the Great Seal are well aware of the fact that our illustrious prophet Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, Noble Drew Ali, firmly and authoritatively commanded the loyal and faithful Moors to help him in his great missionary work of helping to bring our Moorish American people back into the constitutional fold of government to assist us in our directives. We shall review and analyze an excerpt from a prime document set forth by Prophet Noble Drew Ali for all Moorish Americans. Keep in mind, at all times, the Prophet's dedicated work centered around rights, maxims, acts, and those likened things which promote the restoration of our laws to state. A major and focused directive is called a divine warning by the Prophet for the nations. Is to be examined, analyzed, and acted upon. Prophet Noble Drew Ali quote is as follows: money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone, and without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I'm hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of government. I'm depending on you, on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national Constitution of the United States of America, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. There are other major and focused directives issued to all Moorish Americans coming from the Prophet. These and others likewise should serve us well and inspire us in our work. Children, you are at home, and the European is 3,000 miles from home, and he's going to have to take on some water. Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Islam.
There are going to be new Moors that are going to come in with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing, and are going to take you old Moors, seat you in the back, and carry out my law.
Islam.
Noble Drew Ali.
Islam.
I had to go around my elbow to get to my thumb to get what I wanted out of this government. Prophet Noble Drawley. All nations will turn against the United States one day. Prophet Noble Drawley. The half has not been told. If I told you everything, you would go back to sleep. Prophet Noble Drawley. As our illustrious prophet said, reflection is the business of man. And now, as we consider our affairs, we active Moors convene again via the order of the Great Seal to take on the responsibility of enforcing our Constitution covenant for the United States of America as originally and organically derived from Muslim law. The subject matter that we shall address at this time is consular courts.
Islam.
Okay, Islam.
Consular courts are held by the consuls of one nation or country within the territory or jurisdiction of another nation or country, and established under the authority of a treaty for settlement of civil cases. In some instances or cases, consular courts also have and exercise a criminal jurisdiction in respect to criminal cases. However, the home country nation government by territorial right maintains the right of review in such cases by its courts. Among civilized governments, a consul acts as chief executive magistrate.
All right.
Now, with consideration of this fact, can you put in perspective, please, Act 1 of the Divine Constitutional Bylaws set by the proper for Grand Sheiks and Assistant Grand Sheiks, the chairman and the moderator, that they're put in power to make law and to enforce law?
Yes, yes.
We don't have to say whether or not they've been doing it, they've been saying whether or not they've been doing
Yep.
it. So you can see
Yep.
we've been suffering things. So
Yep.
Moors who are honorable to the cause must enforce the law.
Yes.
So you must be conscious of law to enforce it.
That's right.
This is why we're talking consular court. This is also why I gave you a synopsis of the history so you understand your responsibility. The world is holding you to this even if you haven't been aware of this. You need to understand this. United States Corporation Company relinquishes jurisdiction in Morocco. On day 1 of August 1956, the European Corporate Board of Directors of the United States Corporation Company, calling themselves Congress for their private U.S. corporation, relinquished jurisdiction in Morocco. This abandonment of jurisdiction was effected via the private administration of the private U.S. corporation and recorded as being repealed via subsection 141 to subsection 143 in reference to consular court in Morocco. The same is noted in Chapter 807, Statute 744. One must therefore remember and know the heretofore suppressed fact that Northwest Amexem is the heartland of the Moroccan Empire, and that Northwest Amexem, Northwest Africa, is North America, the North Gate. The German, Dutch, European Dwight D. Eisenhower, exercising the executive powers vested in the seat of President of the United States Corporation Company, originally established in France, 1754, by the European Benjamin Franklin, relinquished jurisdiction in Morocco via memorandum issued by himself on September of 1956. Thereafter, all pending consular court cases were disposed of by the year 1960. Reference is made to the same by a bulletin of the State Department posted in volume 35.909 on page 844. Section 141, RS subsection 4083, 4125, 4126, 4127, Act June 14, 1878, Chapter 192, 20, Statute 131, related to judicial authority generally of ministers and consuls of the United States in China, Siam, Turkey, Morocco, Muscat, Abyssinia, Persia, and territories formerly a part of the Ottoman Empire, including Egypt. Section 142, RS subsection 4084, related to the general criminal jurisdiction of ministers and consuls of the United States. Section 143, RS subsection 4085, related to general jurisdiction of ministers and consuls of the United States in venues of civil court cases. All active Moors members of the Order of the Great Seal, please complete answering the following questionnaire. The participants are asked to complete the questions with due diligence. A competent completion of the same will be, A competent, completion of the same will be used to assist the council members in selecting a jury for consular court. Now, and so you have a series of questions, and this, you'll be required to answer these for yourself, but it will cause you to study. And then what you'll see is you'll recognize what is required of the chiefs and the grand chiefs in the Moorish Science Temple according to Act 1 issued to them in the Divine Constitution and bylaws. And as those of you who know who've been to the temples, it has told you that this is the preparation age. And so what the prophet said to you, prepare you actually for this. So now you're presented factually with your responsibility. And it's not just ours. But you need to be made aware of what your responsibility is, because much of your suffering, economic and political suffering, comes from a lack of these things being enforced. Are we clear?
Clear.
You can furthermore understand Pope Francis' letter to Obama, because he's actually making reference to the real history. And so their obligation was to be telling you these things. So Obama did what he could do, in whatever lunch boxes y'all still have is kind of tough cookies. But remember, those amongst you were supposed to be telling you this. So we're telling you because we're telling you what the Moorish Science Temple is for. What they do, I'm not going to argue that. Let them show you what they do. So I'm proving to you what their obligations are. And I'm proving to you what Act 1 is all about. By international law, by the real information. Because many of them, knowing that this information has been exposed, are attacking us as if they're not responsible to this. Because when you learn the real history, you'll find out that there's traitors amongst you. This is another reason why they suppress this information, and also why they're mad at us for exposing this information or educating you, because they can't continue to rob you and then watch you suffer while they're getting kickbacks in the background from the Europeans while pretending that they honor and know Badrali when they're just mentioning his name but not carrying out the law. So this is why we're saying if the youth come in and get this information, they are contaminated.
Islam.
Right.
But the fact that this information has been neglected is why we're suffering now. This man has been stealing our estates, our houses, and our property, and our checking accounts, and every day, thing else, and we had no recourse, not knowing that the venue that these things were to be held in is consular courts. Eisenhower suspended them. Why? Because they relinquished jurisdiction at Morocco. But they didn't go home, did they?
No, they didn't.
Oh, see, now you see the problem? Meanwhile, here you got the grand chiefs and assistant grand chiefs put in power to make law. Not only they're not enforcing Constitution, they're condemning the Moors who are teaching constitutional law.
Yes, that.
Do you understand what I'm saying? But they're holding them seats. Meanwhile, our people are suffering. So the deal of it is what occurs when people in position of authority in breach of trust are violating their trust. It is the duty of the nationals and the citizens to enforce the Constitution, because all rights revert back to them.
That's right.
But what occurs if they don't exercise those rights? It's called latches. They've given up their birthright. Now you understand why we had the lecture on belligerent trustees?
Yeah.
And you must understand that when you're dealing with them, they're belligerent trustees. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Now, and so if you don't know that and you start arguing racism and everything, they ain't going to argue to your face. They immediately recognize that you're incompetent. Are we clear?
Clear.
Now, for scholars, this is called the great sellout. And this is why most people will not give you details, because it'll become obvious even to a dummy what Drali did. See, and so when you give the history, you'll appreciate what Noble Drali did factually, whether you support it or not. You can't deny that what he did and why he's called a prophet. Because all the things that you're suffering today, he already set you up to cure. The deal of it is that the law had not been carried out, now we're suffering the consequences. However, we're still breathing, so it's not too late.
Islam.
If you get the point.
All right.
All right. So, again, a lot of times when our people are having problems, whether they're dealing with foreclosures, or they're dealing with the corporate operatives going into their accounts, garnishing their wages, seizing their accounts with the IRS, etc. As you can see, the Pope himself, who owns them, relinquished all their licenses. And he told you that Obama was what? A foreign dignitary representing the United States Service Corporation. Now, if you don't understand that, what else can they tell you?
That's the corporate side.
In other words, He's making it very clear the United States is a private corporation. You got to stop calling it a country. The country is Morocco. That's your estate. If you don't understand that, you keep on calling them white man, you just call him sovereign. Then when he exercises, you don't have a right to go around, march, and pray. Because it's not a complexion, it means sovereign. Ruler of the land. And so what they've been doing is just cheating our people's estate. Then our people have been claimed to be Smith, Jones, and Johnson, which makes it state property, because they ain't Smith, Jones, and Johnson. That's why Drawley brought you back. He said, I brought you back your nationality and the title to your lost estate. What else you want me to do, kill you?
That's what he said.
That's 102 years ago. Do you understand? We've been negligent.
Yes.
But being negligent out of ignorance, you're still not excused, because every man, woman, child must confess their own.
Right.
And you're held to that whether you're conscious of it or not, unfortunately. And Gabriel, this is one of the reasons when I brought the United States Corporation papers, because these people don't believe the United States is a private corporation.
Which, by the way, bro,
Get a mic and I want you to talk. Do your thing, because I already know you've been working. And Brother T. Franklin Bey been working too. You know, but what we want to do is we want to stop getting pushed against the wall and then start to work. You need to get this stuff under your belt.
Yeah.
So that when you pull force in the ring, you don't start leaning on the rope talking about, do I jab? Why they punch you in the back of your head?
Islam.
Islam, bro.
With the incorporation papers for for those.
You got another copy of your talk?
What I did was I scanned them to my computer so I can email them to anyone. So that way it's paperless and it's a little less taxing on my pocket until we write a writ to office supply places and tell them to release our hereditaments. You know, so.
Now, what was your response when I gave you this corporate paper?
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I read it before.
And you knew it.
And then I'm reading it again after studying other stuff, and now it's different. It's so different.
See how it changes the mental?
Yes.
It's almost like you can tell people this, and they accept what you're saying, and still don't get it.
I bear witness.
And the whole world knows this. So do you understand the problem that the world has with so-called black people who ain't black?
Yes.
And they insist on being black?
We're hard-headed and we won't comprehend
And
the
rebellious.
things we need to read.
Hard-headed and rebellious people are not called by my name. And when they repent from their sinful ways, I will hear from heaven and heal their land. See the argument in the Dungey case?
Yes.
Is it a new argument?
No.
5 years before Lincoln was president. And what do these phonies keep on saying? Noble Drawley made that up. Do you see the problem? It's a belief. Do you see the problem? Now, in estate law, they're not descendable. Then they want to start a whole bunch of organizations, march and pray all around the place, taking up space, confusing. This is what they're talking about in King Alfred, where they're going to kill them. They're going to exterminate them.
It was also, I'm sorry, 1 second.
Go ahead.
There was also, you said a video.
Go ahead.
Hold on, if you don't mind, hold on.
I know you said there's some new faces here. You could direct them to that video where Barack is talking about the first nation to recognize the United States was Morocco.
I don't know if I can still pull that up because I have to have that.
Internet, yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's all over YouTube, and I just
Yeah.
recently posted it on my
Yeah.
Facebook, to be honest with you.
I don't know if he's gonna walk right here.
For those that may need the information that's being shared this evening, I'm not sure if there are any 16 gig hard drives available, but usually they are. They're usually about 10 notes they're provided here. I'm not sure if there are any available, but usually that's a way that you can get the information that Brother Taj is sharing every civics class. If you have your own jump drive, so that you can have the information so you can take it back home with you and study it and or print it out yourselves, respectfully saying. But if we can't print out anything for you tonight, I did bring some paper and I brought some ink and some refill ink, so I can do my best as possible for you guys.
So you said if we give you an email address, we can get all the copies of everything that was on.
Well, not necessarily all the copies, just that particular paper and whatever I scan to my computer. And then when I get back near the Baltimore Corporation, I do set them up so I can email them, because that's a little quicker for everyone to get them. So 9 times out of 10, if you're leaving your email here and assign it, or you could leave it for me.
Can you talk about the articles that Taj is referring to, the paper?
Yes, it is the Articles of Incorporation papers that were put in Florida by the Florida Corporation. That was 1925.
That was Florida Corporation. That was United States Service Corporation.
Yes, United States Service Corporation.
Registered in Florida.
Registered in
1925. Now,
right.
see, if you all pay attention, now some of you, again, some of you in the Moorish Science Temple already have scholarship, but a lot of us talking is for those who don't know. 1925, because of the infiltration with J. Edgar Hoover and Calvin Coolidge, Noble Drew Ali registered the Moorish Holy Temple of Science as a civic organization. That's teaching government. And of course, those who know the history know that Marcus Garvey was teaching structural government too, assisting. And that's when you had the sellout. And so this is what they did, because remember, Drew Ali crashed to the United States when he set up the old Canaanite Temple in 1913. That crashed at the United States. Now, when I gave you the history on Lincoln, and I went from the Dungy case. Now, what I didn't give you a synopsis of the history, that Lincoln. Now, those of you who know, those in the Moorish Science Temple know, but those of you who don't know or don't have scholarship, or not a Mason or Eastern Star or Knights Templar, if you're not in a secret society, you would know, all right? Say if you're an adept, a scholar, a government official of any nation, and Mason, Shriner, Knights of Columbus, Knights Templar, George's American Revolution, Keikel's Ku Klux Klan, Dragon, y'all would all know this. If you're just an ordinary believer, you're just a bill payer. It would be kept from you. Are we clear? Clear. All right? So anybody that's a PhD, like a Grand Sheikis and all these people are PhDs. All of them have this knowledge. Are we clear? Which is what qualifies them for those titles. Are we clear? It doesn't matter whether they're Europeans or Asiatics. Are we clear?
Yeah.
So, 1913, when Drew Ali set up the old Canaanite Temple, Woodrow Wilson met with the Jesuit order and P2 Masons and the bankers of England under the secret treaty of Verona off Jekyll Island, Georgia, and sold the government again to the Jesuits. Are we clear?
Clear.
That's when they set up the Federal Reserve and later the Inquisition revenue services, which you know as the Internal Revenue Service, at a counter to Drew Ali. Are we clear? Mm-hmm. Then they converted all allodial titles and aboriginal titles into mortgages and deeds. That began in 1913 to steal your estate. Are we clear?
Clear.
Clear.
Now let's go back. 1860. Abraham Lincoln, being a member of the Bar Association, could not hold office of the organic United States by Muslim laws, called Original Article of Amendment 13, what is called the Nobility Clause, which you don't get at all, but it's in the congressional records. Grand Chiefs and Moors have it, and Masons have it, but the masses don't get it. Are we clear? Yeah. However, due to the fact that our illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali set up the old Canaanite Temple in 1913, all Sheiks and assistant Grand Sheiks know this because they're charged with delivering this information to Moorish Americans and then to the rest of the nations of the world, to the four corners of the world, restoring you to the right of your estate. Are we clear? Yeah. So when these people pretend they don't know this, understand that they're lying to you. So when they play dumb, when this kind of conversation comes up, don't believe them.
All right.
That's like a doctor talking about he don't know nothing about the anatomy of the body, but he's a doctor. You know, like a carpenter talking about, I ain't into saws. You know, you ain't doing my door. You know, and all kind of stuff like this, you know. Candy maker don't know what sugar is. But anyway, so this is important. By Lincoln not being, by original Article of Amendment 13, the Nobility Clause, he could not run for president for the organic United States. So they ran him on the platform that Benjamin Franklin, who was later to be a minister plenipotentiary with the forming of the treaty, the world's oldest treaty between the Moroccan Empire and the United States. Are we clear?
Clear.
All right. So they ran him on that platform that had control of the 19 enumerated powers, and by default, he would have control of the seat. Are we clear? So they ran him on that United States corporation that Franklin had registered 1754 in France. All right? This is the service corporation that the Pope is talking about that Obama is really the contractor for. Are we clear? Now, Lincoln shortly recognized that they were using him to undermine the Republic, and he bankrupted that United States. Are we clear?
Clear.
As revenge, the cabal operators and the P2 Masons plotted for Lincoln's assassination. Are we clear? Lincoln counter-moved with the Emancipation Proclamation. All right? He bankrupted that United States in 1860. 1861, the Congress adjourned sine die. That's how they write it in history. It was really a coup d'etat. May the 10th of 1861. When Lincoln bankrupted that United States, it crashed that United States Service Corporation that Benjamin Franklin registered in France. So he went bankrupt. Are we clear?
Clear.
So the plot was to take that debt of that United States Corporation company that Lincoln bankrupted. Now you see why they show him as Africanus. Hold on, let me give you a picture again so that you'll understand through imagery what they're really saying. You know how I say picture tells 1,000 words? See why they got him in Moorish garb and they call him Abraham Africanus the First? Because as you Moors, he's trying to restore the estate. Because they were using him to undermine the Constitution, which comes from Muslim law. So 1860, he bankrupted that United States Corporation company. That United States Service Corporation bankrupted, so the members of the P2 Masons of the Vatican, the bishopric, popes of Rome, bankers of England under the secret treaty of Verona, set up another United States shell corporation in Puerto Rico and in Guam. Are we clear?
That's right.
All right? Same corporation, different hands. Are we clear?
Yeah.
All right. 1913, Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, Noble Ali, coming from Anyawiya. Anyawiya, many of our families are Anyawiya. Anyawiya, the Europeans call us Cherokee. Are we clear?
Clear.
That's a misnomer with Anyawiya. And declared to the Queen of England to enforce the treaties and their obligation to stop granting these Moors, Negro, Black, and colored stealing their estate. Set up Old Canaanite Temple for the restoration of that lost estate and enforcement of the Constitution, which includes the treaties and the obligations that go with it that Pope Francis is talking about in the letter. Are we clear?
Clear.
So when you know the history, you can put all these things together and see the correlations. Are we clear?
Yes.
When Drawley set up the Old Canaanite Temple, that crashed that corporation, United States Shell Corporation in Puerto Rico and Guam. Are we clear?
Clear.
So now that's the second one. Lincoln crashed the first one in 1860.
Yeah.
Noble Drawley crashed the second one 1913. Are we clear?
Clear.
We move on. He sets up grand chiefs and other scholarships who are supposed to deliver this information to these people on the hedges and the highways. Are we clear?
Yeah.
So the Old Canaanite Temple becomes the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, a civic organization, which was registered in 1925.
Yeah.
The Europeans counter with this registration of the United States Corporation Company because he crashed that one too. Now it's the second one Noble Drawley crashed.
Yeah.
So Lincoln crashed 2 United States. Lincoln crashed 1, Drawley crashed 2.
Yeah.
Are we clear?
Clear.
So they plot on his death, right? They assassinate him in 1929, claiming that he had pneumonia. What they really did was try to set him up with a murder with some brothers in Chicago who was trying to sell the organization. Are we clear?
Clear.
Put his furniture out on the street, crashed, tore down the press so that the communications could not be maintained, but they held the seats, just like that fake Congress did. Still claiming to be grand sheiks and everything when they betrayed the prophet. Are we clear?
Yeah.
And the Moors, out of ignorance, keep defending them. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Now, when you go into the FBI papers, you can see it. Even though it's redacted, it is clear for any scholar. That's why they will not show them people in FBI papers in the Moorish Science Temple, and that's why they got rid of the press, because it'll be very clear that half these people are COINTELPRO. Are we clear?
Clear.
We're talking real world politics, provable. It's not opinion. I'm giving you reference so you can go research this stuff yourself. So they counter-moved and this is where they reincorporated the United States Corporation, and you can see the date there, see that? 1925, right? See that Articles on Incorporation? What's that corporation that you see right there?
United States Corporation.
What, read it?
Company.
Let's see what this word is. Certificate of Incorporation of the United States Corporation Company.
All right, now people think it's a country, don't they? So here's their document. That's a counter to Noble Drawley. See why them branch sheets won't show you this stuff? And they attack us for showing this because it exposes them. We ain't personal, they keep attacking us. We just telling you the truth. Because the prophet told us to enforce the Constitution. You can't enforce what you don't know. And if you don't know, you're incompetent. That's how you keep losing your estate. Do you understand? You can't continue to be incompetent.
That's right, that's right.
This is the real world politics. You understand?
That's right.
All right, now, so, to counter Noble Drawley, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Skull and Bones, reset up another United States Corporation company in Puerto Rico. They got rid of Noble Drawley. But 1928, it crashed anyway. But with the infiltration, so 1928, now notice these correlating years. Noble Drawley adopted a religious affidavit to protect the Moorish Holy Temple of Science and set up a trust. And these grand chiefs and chiefesses will be teaching these Moors trust law and estate law and put all their property in trust under the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. They undermine that too. These people don't even know what trust and estate is. They hear these words and don't even know what it is.
Taj.
Are we clear?
Yeah, question.
Go ahead. Loud so we can hear you.
What act constitute the crash of these shell corporations? Is it just getting information out there?
No, it's airship. Once you understand this, when Noble Drawley stood up in propria persona, he's not a black man, Moorish American, heir to the estate. What occurs in state law when the heirs to an estate show themselves competent of age?
Gotta turn it over.
Isn't that law?
That's
They
it.
gotta deliver it up.
Then he restore your title to your lost estate?
That's right. That's right.
So why don't these people know what the estate is? Who has not been telling them this? So I'm telling you, and I'm showing you the documents, but you got to take responsibility.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because it's your estate. It's not just because I'm talking to you. It ain't my information. This is my style of delivering the information, but this is your birthright. You can do with it what you will. However, they're plotting on killing you off before you get a restoration. That's what King Alfred, Rex 84, the Executive Order 11490, Rex 84, silent weapons for quiet wars. That's document. That's what that's all about. Why do you think they ain't telling you? They're keeping you calm, thinking you're going to get a job, and they're really planning to kill you. For real. Meanwhile, your Negro leader guys claim to be religious is getting paid off and comfortable and been taken to the mountaintop, which is called your Great Seal. That you see on the back of that note, death note. You notice that no politicians talk under that seal? Isn't it there? Take out that note again, those who take that note. Doesn't it say the Great Seal under that seal?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
I'll show you something.
You see the appendix next to it,
You need this stuff on here 1 week and this stuff ain't coming
right there.
Now, notice on that note, you'll see this. And it'll say the Great Seal. Right? And it'll have a pyramid. Look at that note, look at it, it's on your note. That you think is $1, which it isn't.
There you go.
Right? And it's got an acacia bush growing right there. Right? And it got eye right there, right? Right? Let's bring that to earth.
There you go.
Now, how do they show you things or tell you things to your face and you don't know what you're looking at? If you know what you're looking at, you see it. And people who don't have eyes to see won't necessarily recognize what they're looking at. But I'm going to show you something how they can talk to you right in your face. Anyway,
Yep, sign
so let's
and
bring
symbols.
that pyramid with the acacia bush. There's the acacia bush.
Find your way back.
Uh-huh.
Let's show the violation of physics. What is the violation of physics that you see here? The shadow continues underneath the pyramid. It's a violation of physics, but they're really telling you something. So that great seal of that pyramid becomes a 7. And it brings the light to the earth. So that's the upper world, the underworld. And so over the bird's head, you'll see Hex Alpha. There you go. They're telling you who the real heirs are. But if you don't know what you're looking at, now look on the front of that note. Look on the front of the note, and you'll see the 4 quarters. So what are the 4 quarters? So the 4 quarters make a hold on it. Huh?
That's
So the 4 quarters, and this is why your quarters are silver, because that's the alchemical metal of the moon. The alchemical metal of the sun is gold. That's why your moon economics that governs the moon of woman, the Stargate, is what? Silver and gold. Because that's the culture on the earth plane. Are we clear?
Clear.
Now look on the front and look at your 4. No, I got it. I want y'all to look at it. Now you notice how it has 4 ones and 4 quarters and 4 corners? You notice that the northeast corner, that the 1 is in a shield of heraldry. The rest of them are in oval, not circle, oval, ovary. And the 1 in the corner is a shield of heraldry, northeast corner. That's a message too.
What's the message?
4 corners of the earth, and the northeast corner is the north gate. Now, you notice that when they do the march, the Mummers Parade, they assemble at 6 on Moore Street. Then they go west, Young Man, Horace Greeley, turn 90 degrees on Broad Street, ends at the Masonic Lodge in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and that City Hall was a battleground. It's designed exactly like a mosque with a parapet at the north, with building pens standing on it 23.5 degrees, facing the Grand Lodge, Masonic Lodge, and there the parade ends. They don't really hide it. Then right at the corner, you can go right up the Parkway, and it shows you all the nations, the flags of the nations. At the bases, it has, what, a fountain, sprite water. And then at the base of the step at the Art Museum, it has Eakins ovary, oval. And then with the Schuylkill and the Delaware, like the fallopian tubes, it's like an ankh. And then the museum, if you look at it from the air, is architecturally an M, matriarchy.
Time for a field trip.
And then Queen Winona is sitting on the throne. They Europeanized her. You see the European with a dagger underneath the flag, getting ready to assassinate her because that's when they murdered her. Right there at what they call Lover's Leap on Kelly Drive. Lincoln Drive. Yeah. And everybody comes around the world, looks at that, and these people don't even know their own history and why the Mummers Parade is there about their fall. But they're going to tell you about Jesus, God, Allah, and Muhammad. Don't even know their bloodline. So the Europeans even telling you in the numismatics. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you don't know what you're looking at, and it tells you it's the Great Seal. Now you see why them sellouts get mad when we talk about the Great Seal?
Yeah.
That's a seal of the Moorish government that was overthrown under occupation. And then the other seal is of the United States. Read it, it's there, don't even hide it. Look on that note. It says, the Great Seal.
Yep.
And then on the other with the bird it says, O. Third grade grammar. Is an O a what? Preposition? A preposition is a substantive connector, which means those 2 seals are one.
That's right.
Then you put one in the middle. O and E, big as day. So are they hiding it?
No.
They just know these people can't read. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, yeah.
But they're going to tell you about Jesus, God, and Allah.
How to get to the
Do you understand how what the world be looking at you like that whole much?
We use it every day.
And we're always talking trash, like we know so much. And then all of you leader guys and leader girls going to them lodges and everything, and 90% of those reverends is Masons, while they condemn it across the pulpit, while in secret they got that Moorish fez, dressed in jewels with the tassel pinned down. And then when they go to school, they give them what? What is this called?
Mortar board.
Mortar board. And they give you a little kufi,
Yeah,
and they even have a little point in the front,
yeah.
implying the thalamus, where the nerve comes from the dark side of the brain, terminates right over the nose, right here. And then they stitch it like this,
That's right.
and put the umbilical cord here, belly button, umbilical cord, all the mud called Earth, and the degrees that the Earth dances around the sun, 90 degrees, 90 degrees,
Wow.
90 degrees, 90 degrees, 360 degrees.
Graduate.
And you graduate, and you pull this up, and it turns into a pyramid.
Mama.
Right up under your nose. So much things.
Mortarboard, what does mortarboard imply? When you putting bricks together, masonry. Now you understand in the movie National Treasury, where you see Nicolas Cage go to the Pennsylvania House,
Yeah.
now called what? Independence Hall. And he takes his fingers like this. See your four corners of that? Nope. And he pulls a brick out and gives these shades, the illusions, and the treasures of Egypt, right underneath. And then the woman completing her coin collection,
Yeah.
and she notices a watermark of the Great Seal.
Yeah.
Nobody else noticed it. I mean, we don't have to go on. They be telling you all the time. So when you think that they're not telling you, they're not telling you. They're telling you to get the karmic debt off them. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But if you don't know what you're looking at, then you can't say that you have the Torah. After all, y'all the ones that keep on talking, you know Jesus personally, you got to sell them, phone number, and y'all know all this. Then y'all should know your bloodline, right? And this is where in the common law, where you're held to these principles, when it says, how dare you claim the love of God, or to love a God, or to know a God whom you do not see, and love not your brothers and sisters whom you see every day. Likewise, how dare you claim to know the laws of God and not know the laws of the land upon which you stand?
All right.
That's called common law. Now you understand, when we have to go to law book, how that relates to you? Now you understand what Drawley said, help me in my great missionary work? Bringing our people back into the constitutional fold of government because you've been locked out. Are we clear?
Clear.
Now, so what occurred is, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, after Drawley crashed the third United States, but Drawley crashed two of them. Lincoln crashed one, Drawley crashed two. They established another one. So then Franklin Delano Roosevelt, because they were bankrupt again, used all birth certificates as bottomry instruments. From the barristers of England, from the Queen of England, etc. They took the battery instruments and made the birth certificates bank bonds, and that's been supporting the United States Corporation ever since to the day. And then this is where the Pope is talking about they're in breach of trust from 1933 to 1945. He's talking about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he's talking about Truman. And then to stave off their dissolution of colonial governments, Truman did the atom bomb type thing to steal Japan's estates. Are we clear?
Clear.
And made them a vassal state since then. Are we clear?
Clear.
That's been going on now. And then you see where the Pope dissolved the United States Service Corporation, and this was a couple years ago, and they're done. And this is why, like, when you seen Obama, when he was doing that roast with Obama, and he said, you know, he was in these words, not exactly his word, he's talking about the end of the Republic. He said, Obama out, and he dropped the mic, and everyone was laughing. He's talking about the demo system is done. And they were saying, how come Obama was always playing God? Because the corporation was dead. He's just administering. See, if you understand this stuff, you're not offended. if you don't understand it, you're offended because you're in the mind that this is the country. There's a private corporation that's been dealing with the service contracts in corporation to the country, and they're in breach.
Yeah.
Are we clear?
Yeah.
Now, and this is what the Pope is talking about. Now, again, and so, anyway, these are some of the questions that and Dee did most all this work. I did some editorials on it, but Delisle Casa-Il, did the questionnaire. And it's not limited to this, but what this does, this would cause you to have to go into scholarship, not deal with how you feel or your beliefs. But in doing so, you would learn a lot. But you would also, it would put you back in harmony with what's going on in the real world. And then make you competent. Then when you're having to deal with these people, you would deal with them competently because you are held to that. See, you either present yourself or you will be represented by another man, and you always lose that. And this is how our people have been screwed over and over and over and over again, and people who knew this information ain't been teaching you.
Wow.
Who had this information and ain't been teaching you. And they've been had it for 102 years. See, but you won't see, a lot of people know about the great sellout. And the betrayal of Drew Ali, but they don't know that they betrayed you. Because Drew Ali came to restore your estate. And if you don't care about your own estate, you sitting up there thinking this man just made this stuff up, that makes you inactive because you don't take it seriously. Meanwhile, they're trying to kill you off. Do you understand? Now, when they was doing the gun running in Benghazi, Hillary spoke from the Ben Franklin room, who was a member of the bar. Pardon me, she's a member of the Daughters of American Revolution. In case y'all don't know that. And so she spoke from the Ben Franklin room, who's a minister plenipotentiary. Hold on, let's see if I can find. Yes. Give him the mic. I want you to be in the mic.
What?
Give him the mic, please.
Mother April said she had a question still too.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question I had was, were you going to make those questions available to you?
Yes, for anybody who wants them. As a matter of fact, what we want you to do, you're going to convene another one.
Yes.
And we'll probably do it here too.
Yes.
And you all can come. What is mainly with our Operation the Great Seal, but we'll make it public so that you all can become competent. Because everybody's responsible to this, even though you haven't been necessarily educated. So most of the people are members of the Great Seal. We're trying to establish it, but of course you have to have a knowledge because you have to actually be competent, which is why these questions are available to you. But we'll make sure that you get a copy.
If you got a flash drive, you can get it from.
Yeah, this is not complete now.
Okay.
This is preliminary, and we want you to be aware of this. But anyway, let me see if I can.
Taj, I was just making a statement about what you said about you proclaiming your nationality and not letting people call you black and colored. Well, this woman named Evelyn Rosen, doing business as a professor at a university, she called me colored last week. And I waited to end the class and I walked up to her and I asked her, I said, did you call me colored? And she said, I'll call you whatever you look like to me. And I was like, well, I'm a Moorish American, I'm gonna leave it at that. And I walked away. And then she stopped and she was like, I know all about the Moors in Spain, we're very good friends. I was like, I'm sure you do. And then she was like, well, I'm a Jew. I'm like, are you really a Jew? She said, I'm a Jew. It's funny because she's using Judaism as nationality, but it's not. It's a religion.
Yeah, because they're not Jews. They're Ashkenazi.
I was like, it's funny because the last time I checked, the Moors is the true Jews, and after that, she didn't say anything.
No, not Moors, it's Yahudi. Yahudi.
Yahudi.
That's who. Yeah. See, this is where the Inquisition comes from. The Inquisition, this is why it's important to know the history.
Come on.
Jew is pejorative.
Teach.
Are we clear?
Woe to the man.
Woe to the man who calls himself a Jew.
Come on.
You understand? In other words, that's a fraud altogether. Now, what did Hitler do to some people that claim, try to use that same game that they try to use on you? He started frying them, didn't he? With gas that they got from Newark, New Jersey under unmarked ships. Didn't they? And everybody turned their heads, and after everybody was invited to this barbecue party, but nobody was coming out the back of the building, that's why they figured out, man, I thought that meat smelled funny. They heard about a nationality, didn't they? Even though they made it up, didn't they?
Yes, yes.
They call it ISIS, Amun Ra, Elohim, Israel. But they're not Jews.
No.
John 8:44. Septuaginta. You claim to be Abraham's children. If you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. But you seek to kill me, a man who's telling you the truth.
Islam.
Get thee away from me, for you are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father he will do. He's the murderer from the beginning, and abide not in the truth, because the truth is not in him. They've been stealing your estate since 1861. This is what the Pope is telling you. So when they're saying that, they're still trying to steal your estate. Now, again, and good, because you're, number one, modest, and you have some knowledge. See, so you don't beat them up by getting angry or anything. You just tell them their history.
She just like, I call you whatever you look like who you talking to?
That's an assumption. This is what happens. Our people are automatically under the black codes until you proclaim your nationality. What did you just did? You proclaimed your nationality, corrected her. It's an automatic. Anybody of Moorish descent are Christian property until they themselves speak up to reclaim their estate.
She said at the end, she's like, well, how am I supposed to know who you are if you don't tell me?
Well, that's what
I do. So now in the class other day, she was talking about black people and colored people. She didn't even want to look my way. I was like,
Of course she ain't, because she's embarrassed. She's a fraud.
I wasn't talking about you.
Because she's not going to look you in the eye because she already knows she's a fraud. But you got to understand, John D. Rockefeller, Frederick T. Gates, that platform is set up to dumb the people down.
Yeah.
You know that, so you don't be surprised. Didn't Obedrali say every temple must have a school?
Yes, yes.
What did them people who keep claiming the same Obedrali did when the great sellout? They squandered the finance to make sure that they don't have no schools. They spend more time condemning people who are teaching the law than they do doing their job that they're assigned to, so that the people don't notice that they're traitors. That's part of their charter. How many temples you know got a school?
I don't know.
I knew one in Glassboro. And a little bit of corruption took place there. You know, whatever. But let's be real. See, it is our duty to protect the prophet and the temples and the movement. And not to tell the truth would be treacherous.
That's right.
Which is why a lot of the youth are suffering today, because people allow these people to mismanage the temples and haven't moved them from them seats. Why do you think the prophet did the additional constitutional bylaws in the back of the questionnaire? And the first thing he addressed in Act 1 is their corruption. And the letter that he commanded to be read before every meeting in the temple, is it read? No, it is not. Well, we don't need to go there. Deal of it is the youth. If you get this information, it'll become clear what you are to do.
Subordinate Temple number 5, Canaan Land, they do.
They got
it together.
And Asbury Park does.
Yeah.
Asbury Park in Canada,
Grand Sheik Cujo.
well, the one in Glassboro, that kind of close, whatever. That's where they got that school and the land and everything. But anyway, we don't want to go into that. But it is your duty to come and enforce law and clean this mess up. That's why Drew Ali said the time gonna come when people gonna come into this movement with their eyes already open. They're gonna sit them old Moors. That's a modest way of calling them traitors.
It's hard to keep trying to tell these Europeans who you are when they already know the history, but as soon as you tell them, then they want to start acting weird towards you.
Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's be very, very clear. Barack H. Obama, constitutional lawyer, Kenyan. He ain't black, he's Kenyan. President for the United States Service Corporation, which the Pope is telling you. Goes to Egypt, chapter 47. What do you know about chapter 47 of Circle 7 Quran?